Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Sudan's army has announced its fighters have entered the presidential palace in the center of Khartoum. In recent weeks, the army has stepped up its campaign against the rival Rapid Support Forces in the city, which it lost at the start of the war in 2023. Reclaiming Khartoum would be a huge victory for the army and a pivotal moment in the conflict. According to the UN, the 2-year civil war has caused the world's largest humanitarian crisis. Israel's Supreme Court has issued an injunction to prevent the head of the nation's security service from being fired by Benjamin Netanyahu. The Israeli cabinet formally approved the early dismissal of Ronen Bar on Thursday night over the failure to anticipate the 7th of October 2023 attacks by Hamas. Mr. Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, said in a statement last week that he intended to sack Mr. Bar, citing an ongoing distrust between the two. Ronen Bar was appointed in October 2021 for a 5-year term as the chief of the Shin Bet, Israel's domestic intelligence agency. Meanwhile, Israel's defense minister has told the military to seize additional areas in Gaza and threaten to permanently occupy parts of it if Hamas does not free all remaining hostages. Israel Katz said that the military would continue its ground operation in Gaza with increasing intensity until all the hostages, both living and dead, were returned. It is thought around 24 of the 59 hostages still held in Gaza are alive.
President Trump just now signing that executive order to gut the Department of Education.
The U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order to dismantle the Department of Education, fulfilling a campaign pledge and a long-cherished goal of some conservatives. Accusing the agency of breathtaking failures, the Republican president vowed to return the money it controls to individual states. The White House has acknowledged that closing the agency outright would require an act of Congress. The move is already facing legal challenges from those seeking to block the agency's closure, as well as sweeping cuts to its staff announced last week.
And it sounds strange, doesn't it? Department of Education, we're going to eliminate it, and everybody knows it's right. And the Democrats know it's right, and I hope they're going to be voting for it, because ultimately it may come before them, but everybody knows it's right, and we have to get our children educated. We're not doing well with the world of education.
Heathrow Airport says it will operate some flights today and run a full schedule tomorrow after a fire at an electrical substation halted all air travel. Video shared on social media showed tall flames and smoke billowing from the substation overnight. Almost 5,000 homes remain without power after 2 explosions at the substation in Hayes in West London. The airport, which is the UK's busiest, has warned of significant disruption over the coming days.
This is just the most unspeakable event for the plans of getting on for 250,000 people who are going to find that they are simply not going to travel anywhere today on one of the 1,351 flights in and out of Europe's busiest airport that was scheduled. It's pretty miserable for tens of thousands of people who are stumbling blearily from airports strewn across everywhere from Shannon in Ireland and Reykjavik in Iceland all the way across to Munich and Frankfurt.
The Prince of Wales has praised the resilience of Ukrainians during his visit to Estonia, a trip taken to show support for UK troops guarding NATO's border with Russia. In camouflage uniform, the Prince met soldiers and rode on a Challenger 2 tank in what many see is a signal about the UK's commitment to deterring any further Russian aggression. And according to French media, the world's oldest Michelin-starred restaurant, Georges Blanc, has lost its 3rd star. Based in the town of Vonas, outside the city of Lyon, the restaurant earned its 1st star back in 1929 under Georges' grandmother, Elisa Blanc, and has held at least 1 star from the coveted restaurant rating guide ever since. Georges took over the restaurant in 1964 and won a 3rd Michelin star for the establishment in 1981 and has held all 3 ever since, until now. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.